What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Okay, gonna talk about this offer that was pretty much rejected by Deontay Wilder yesterday. And you're going to read in the newspaper that it said that they were going to send a counter offer, and I'm going to give the details for it. But the reason I say that the offer was rejected is because when somebody offers you something and they say take it or leave it, and then you say, well, here's a counter offer, technically speaking, that's rejecting their offer because you presented something different than what they've suggested. So pretty much Deontay Wilder has rejected the offer with the and then made a new offer or within the next day or two, they're going to make a new offer to Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. Also, Steven Espinoza of Showtime said that he would be willing to try to help negotiate and grease the wheels in order to make the fight happen. The long and short of it is, to me, and I'll get into more detail in the video, is that this was a fake offer from Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, and one that they had to have known was going to be rejected. They had asked for it to be, it gave them 48 hours to respond, and the offer didn't have also a very low ball financially, but it also didn't specify when the fight was going to take place, where the fight was going to take place, or whether it was going to be Anthony Joshua's next fight. So with all those key details missing and them giving them 48 hours to respond, you pretty much know that that wasn't a serious offer. And I'll explain that and what I think about the ramifications of that for me personally and for the boxing and for this fight. Now, that said, we're going to have a live stream on this subject, so please subscribe and hit the bell icon, because the best way to know about that live stream is to be notified of it, because we do them during different times in the day. And we definitely have a lot of very well-educated in the sport of boxing and mature commentators, commenters in the comment section that you can engage with, and it's a great way to have real-time discussions about boxing. Now, let me go into the details of it. Team Wilder plans counter to a $12.5 million flat fee for Joshua. According to a report in the Telegraph, promoter Eddie Hearn and IBF, IBO, WBA, WBO heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua have sent a take it or leave it flat fee offer of $12.5 million to WBC champion Deontay Wilder for unification. The contract was sent over with the deadline of 48 hours to accept the offer, or Joshua will likely make a mandatory defense against Povetkin of Russia. The contract does not indicate where the fight will take place, when it will take place, or even whether it will be Joshua's next fight. The unification will likely generate somewhere between $150 million and between $50 and $100 million, and some industry experts expect it to generate even more. And since Wilder and his handlers have stated that a 60-40 split in Joshua's favor would be fair, $12.5 million would be far below 40% of the financial stake. It was a take it or leave it offer, Wilder's co-manager Shelley Finkel told the Telegraph. We'll respond appropriately in the next day or so with a counteroffer. If Joshua is serious, we will take the fight. Deontay wants a fight. He doesn't want anyone else. The first contest would take place in Wembley in London and Principality Stadium in Cardiff, and Wilder would have the option, should he win, to stage a rematch in the United States or the UK. Last month, both of the heavyweight champions were in action. Wilder, 39-0, 49-0 with 39 KOs, survived a life-and-death seventh round to score a knockout victory over undefeated Cuban contender Luis Ortiz in the 10th round at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Ortiz was down 3 times in the contest. In And then later in the month, Joshua, 21-0 with 20 KOs, added the WBO world title to his collection with the 12-round unanimous decision over Joseph Parker at Principality. It was the first time where Joshua went the full 12-round distance. Now, Steven Espinoza, the head of Showtime Sports, is very confident that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder will collide in a heavyweight unification in the future. Showtime has a working relationship with both Joshua and Wilder. At the moment, the two sides are at odds over the money. As Boxing Scene reported on Tuesday, Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, sent Wilder a contract that pays him a flat fee of $12.5 million for the high-stakes WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF, and IBO unification. According to Wilder's handlers, it was a take-it-or-leave-it offer, and based on the amount of revenue involved in the fight, a flat fee of $12 million won't exactly work for Wilder. Espinoza is willing to sit down with both camps and remedy the situation so a deal can be struck. This is Espinoza. We have a vested interest in both guys and feel attached to each. If we can help mediate, we will. We have offered that. We are a key element of the negotiation, Espinoza exclusively told Sky Sports. If we can grease the wheels in terms of getting the deal done attractively to everyone, then we will do our best. I have no doubt that this fight will happen. It could be the next fight, the second fight, or in the spring of 2019. I don't think we'll see a drawn-out negotiation because I see two fighters anxious to stage a worldwide mega fight. Deontay will make the decisions that suit him best, as will Anthony, but we have a long history with Deontay, a close working and personal relationship. The same is true with AJ, except the history is not as long. They each know our heart is in the right place. Our interest is making a fight at the right time under the right conditions. So, pretty much that's what it is. That's what the deal is. Now, the things, where I am with this right now is that, I'm okay with this. I think I'm getting more and more okay with this fight not happening. Because being anxious and waiting for this fight to happen and waiting for Anthony Joshua's side to just firmly say that they want to do it, I'm not very confident that's going to happen without some people really, really pulling some teeth on Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. I had said it in the live stream yesterday that I didn't think that that I think that this offer of 12%, basically what would amount to 12% was either an attempt to cash out, or it is a cash out in that, like, they're like, okay, it's going to be a big money fight. We can't win, so we want to take all the money to ourselves. Or it was an attempt, or it was just a fake offer. And now I'm thinking that more than anything, it was a fake offer. Now, if people haven't told you, I negotiate deals and work on these not on these specific type of things, but contracts a lot. And what you have here when they say this, this is the part of the article that said that made me think, this isn't a serious offer. He said the contract was sent over. Well, let me start. Anthony Joshua sent a take-it-or-leave-it flat fee offer of $12.5 million to WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder for unification. The contract was sent over with a deadline of 48 hours to accept the offer, or Joshua will likely make a mandatory defense against Alexander Povetkin of Russia. The contract does not indicate where the fight will take place, when it will take place, or even if it will be Joshua's next. So that right there makes me believe that that's not a serious offer. Number one, to give somebody 48 hours to consider an offer and take it or leave it, we're not negotiating, and they don't even have in there where it will be. How do you know whether it's a fair financial deal if you don't know where the fight is? If you don't know where the fight is, you don't know when the fight is, and you don't know whether it's going to be the next fight, those are pretty pertinent deals. Those are pretty pertinent, important factors in deciding in deciding whether or not you're going to take the purse, because the money's not even the only thing there. It's the whole who, what, when, and where of the deal. Could you imagine that he says, "Okay, I want a $12 million flat fee," and they say, "Okay, yeah, I accept that. I accept for our next fight that it'll be $12.5 million for flat fee," and then you just are what, going to fill in the blanks, right? Just okay. Well, what happens if it's not for another year? Right? What happens if it's not, if it winds up being where this fight could be worth 150 million? And then if it's not the next fight, why would you sign it at all? So, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that one. I'd love to see, because this, honestly, man, that seems like, it's like an offer sheet. More than likely, it probably is just an offer sheet. It's not an actual contract. I can't believe, unless they're just trying to agree that for any any future fight that you would agree to a 12.5 million flat fee no matter what. So, and they're dealing with Shelly Finkel. You're dealing with people who are sophisticated. If you're dealing with Al Heyman and you're dealing with Shelly Finkel, you have to know that that's an offer that's going to get rejected. That they're not just not going to take a 12.5 million flat fee, no TV rights, right? No TV rights, no portion of the gate, nothing, and then not even know when it's going to take place, where it's going to take place. That's not a serious offer, my friend. That's just not a serious offer. So when I thought, that this was a situation where, I had to figure out which one or two is, it's just a fake offer. I mean, from what I can see. And since it's a fake offer, it's pretty much, why would they make a fake offer? Anthony Joshua gets into the press ahead of time and says that they're going to be sending over there an offer to Deontay Wilder that if it was him, he'd be over the moon about. He looked at this deal. He's a savvy businessman. He's a hustler. And, and this was something he'd be over the moon about. Really? You'd be over the moon about a fight? You don't know when it's going to take place. You don't know how much the fight's going to generate. You don't know where it's going to take place. You don't know when it's going to take place. And you'd be over the moon about that? That doesn't seem like too much of a savvy businessman to me. And since I do have respect for this cat's ability to try to hustle, I have to believe that, he's just saying something. And that's just Eddie Hearn's 48 hours to accept the offer. 48 hours from Pride. I wonder when the 48 hours from. 48 hours from the date that 48 hours from the date on the letter. And they sent it the day before. So Shelly Finkel says, we'll send a counter offer in the next day or so. So you get the counter offer sent in the next day or so. So which is basically saying that Deontay Wilder is going to reject the offer. Because if they say it's a take it or leave it offer, then they're saying no negotiations. So when Deontay Wilder says that he's going to, or Shelly Finkel says we're going to send a counter offer, that's a very polite way of saying no, we're telling them no thank you to this. This is not acceptable. And, let us know when you're really serious about making a fight. Now, what can Steven Espinoza do? Well, Steven Espinoza, when you say grease the wheels, it could mean that, grease the wheels, put some more money into it to make sure that the fight happens. And say, hey, we'll give, Deontay Wilder, we'll put another, $5 million guaranteed on Deontay Wilder side. You give $5 more million outside of that, whatever. And we make sure we get him to making no less than 20 million, on a fight that we believe is going to make 100. Maybe he could do that. But with the offer that was sent by Eddie Hearn, they're going to hide behind the mandatories. And I just think it is because they think they can't win. So, what should Deontay Wilder do? Deontay Wilder's got to make the best decision that Deontay Wilder can make. But I'm starting to lean a little bit towards more what my man Blood Boxing says about it. If you've not checked out his channel, definitely check out his channel. Where, Deontay Wilder just needs to go on about his business and continue to build his name in the United States and get around to a point where This guy has no chance to. This guy has no chance. I mean, has no option but to fight Deontay Wilder. If Deontay Wilder wants to fight, Deontay Wilder's name is becoming more well known in the United States because of this. So he's got some. He's getting equity in the fact that his name is as well known in the UK. His name is dang near as well known in the UK as Anthony Joshua's is. Unless there's some people that just see Anthony Joshua's name that don't pay attention to boxing at all, right? But as far as boxing fans go in the UK, from what I've been hearing, and I've got a good number of subscribers from the UK, and thank you guys from the UK that subscribe to the channel, that talk about what's going on in the UK, so that people can, here in the United States can come to an understanding about what the perception of Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua is in the UK. Because it's really, really hard for me to believe that this type of foolishness is just okay. And just so you think that, I've heard people leave comments on my section saying that, I'm a great patriot because I feel like because I'm speak in acknowledgement of Deontay Wilder's interests. While I am certainly from the United States, if this situation was reversed, I would say the same thing. I didn't. What was it? When Yuri Bocampus fought Oscar De La Hoya for some ridiculously low amount of money, when Oscar De La Hoya was making millions of dollars for the fight, and he played Yuri Bocampus next to nothing for beating the dude half to death. I was like, man, what kind of piece of crap is this dude, man? What kind of dude does that? It's two people that have to make the fight. Both people are, adding to the event. Deontay Wilder is adding to this event. If this fight is $100 million, and I've heard people tell me that it is, I've heard other people say that it's not. The way that I look at it is that if you have $50 million, if you can do $50 million, the equivalent of $50 million for a fight with Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker in the UK, then you're going to get at least that amount with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder in the UK. And if you have a pay-per-view feed for that in the United States, and it does decent numbers, and it does well, you can easily get another $50 million from United States pay-per-view if the fight is built up right. So yeah, there absolutely is the potential. There's the potential of it being $100 million. And some, like the article said, some industry experts think that it could be more. And it could be more, especially since you don't know where these guys want the fight to be. Now, personally, I don't see why in the world you would want the fight in the UK, other than if you want just the feeling of fighting at home. The first one being in the UK, why? Why would you even do the first one in the UK? When you can get, you can get a $28 million gate. You can probably get a $28-30 million gate in the United States. And if it does a million pay-per-view buy, that's 70 million there. That's $100 million just in the States. And then you still get the UK pay-per-view. But if Anthony Joshua being, is the hometown boy and his family and everybody appreciating him fighting there, wants to fight there, and Deontay Wilder's okay with it, then that'll be what it is. But still, whatever Deontay Wilder brings to the plate above what a fight would get against Joseph Parker, then he deserves that. He deserves that, not a fraction of what he brings into the table. Where you're looking at if it's $100 million, you get $88 million for Joshua's side and 87.5 on Joshua's side, and you get 12.5 on Deontay Wilder's side. But, I don't think at this point it's really much to debate about it. Because when you look at the rest of the terms, like I said, it's just a situation where Anthony Joshua doesn't want the fight. And he made an offer so ridiculous. He made his offer so ridiculous that he couldn't possibly have expected them to accept it. So he doesn't accept it. Then they turn around and they say, hey, we made him a great offer. We offered him 4 times more than he would ever made in his career. and he didn't accept it. So, that just shows you that he's not serious, that he's delusional, that he doesn't, he doesn't really want the fight. He thinks he's worth more money than he is, even though they acknowledge in the offer, by the way that they made that offer, they acknowledge what they know Deontay Wilder's worth. He's worth, according to their numbers, about $45 million more than Joseph Parker is. About $45 million more than Joseph Parker is, because of the increased interest in seeing Deontay Wilder in the ring. And the same thing would hold true for Tyson Fury, I do believe. But, it is what it is. And like I said, more than likely, it's not a case where this is some offer that they thought was going to get accepted. This is just some way of them saying they don't want the fight. And since it's pretty much, clear that he doesn't want the fight, then I'm going to start looking and hoping to see maybe we can get another fight that he's, that he is interested in. And then, for it now, if I'm Anthony Joshua and you really believe that number is what that number is, and Deontay Wilder goes and fights somebody else and loses, then you're an idiot. Because you just lost out on $45 million. You just lost out on an additional $45 million in your fight. All because you didn't want to make it happen when it could have happened. And if you lose, same thing. You get if Anthony Joshua gets in there and loses to Alexander Povetkin, the guy I'm sure he really wants to fight because he thinks it's easy money, right? But he gets the wool pulled under his eyes because the billionaire wins the purse bid and sends the fight to Russia. That money's out the door, man. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, son. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and he should take that money. But he doesn't want it, so it is what it is. Peace.